And now what you've all been waiting for, the history of psychology, IB style, in 3 minutes. Right, really quick before we get started, this is something that's important because of what we're covering during this section, which is the history of psychology. A lot of students always ask me and their parents, what is the difference between AP psychology and IB psychology? So I listed some things out here. You're going to notice that this video is super short. That's because in IB psychology as compared to AP, they really don't ask you for quite as much in terms of the history of psychology. So don't think you're missing out. You're going to learn about all the researchers, but there's just not as much as you would get in the AP class. And honestly, coming from a former AP teacher, trust me when I say it's better this way. Alright folks, so let's talk about the beginning here of psychology. Pretty simply put, psychology was really philosophy before anything else. It was all about questioning life, the way that we perceive things, why we perceive them the way that we do. So if you remember anything about Greek philosophers, that is really what psychology started as. After we get past that fluffy philosophy stuff, which was important but not very scientific, we get to our friends Wilhelm and Sigmund Freud. These two gentlemen are probably some of the most important researchers in all of psychology because they set the basis for a lot of things we know today. Now, they are very different from each other. Wilhelm Wundt really studied the conscious mind and really looked at how we perceive the world around us, whereas Sigmund Freud came around and he was like, hey man, actually, psychology is the study of the unconscious. Everything we don't realize is happening that shapes our behaviors and the way we perceive things. Now, I'm going to tell you right now that I am not a fan of Sigmund Freud. Most of his theories have been debunked at this point, and nobody really takes too many of them seriously. It's kind of all the weird stuff you know about psychology, but I do give him credit because his theories are the basis for a lot of therapy techniques that we use today, which we'll learn about later on. So while Europe is fighting whether it's unconscious or conscious mind, in America, we're just really studying behavior. And finally, modern psychology and why it is scientific. So basically, all of modern psychology is based on this idea that the brain has been changing and adapting to its environment over centuries, millennia, whatever. Most of these theories are now based on a lot of the evolutionary theory that Charles Darwin came up with. So we look at like fight or flight responses, how that has evolved. Things like phobias are oftentimes seen as pieces of evolutionary psychology. Anything that shows that there are changes in our biology based on the environment that we live in. So let's make this a little more interactive. Do what the picture tells you to do. Alright folks, this is the end of our video. I told you I'd get it in 3 minutes, but I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was a lot of fun to make this time. It didn't take me quite as long. Thanks for watching, and next week we will have a wonderful video that introduces us to empirical studies, something you guys will partake in throughout the entire 2 years of IB psychology.